Well, greetings, friends, and welcome to BBP. Do you ever wonder what heaven's going to look like and what we're going to do when we get there? I think about that, and I'll tell you the truth. The older I get, the more I think about it. Now, if you know Jesus Christ as your Savior, you're going to be spending eternity in heaven with Him. That's the promise He gives us in John 3:16, that whosoever believes in Him will not perish but have everlasting life. And that's the only way that anyone can get there, is to believe in Him. So even though the Bible doesn't give us a whole lot of details on what heaven's going to be like, I think God makes it clear that He wants us to keep in mind at all times we're going to be heading that way soon enough. In Luke chapter 10, we see Jesus telling His disciples not to get excited because they can heal sickness and cast out demons, but to rejoice because they're going to heaven when they die. And the Apostle Paul, well, he tells us that he keeps one eye on heaven at all times, and that he knows this world is not our home. Our citizenship is in heaven. So I want you to get excited about this, because this is something to look forward to. I don't care who you are, you can't be happy with the direction this world is heading. It's getting crazier and more sinful every day. But in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, Paul tells us that the effects sin has on our bodies and on this crazy world we live in are going to be removed when we get to heaven. Listen to these verses. The body is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. So we see here that there's going to be no more corruption or sickness. There's going to be no more weakness or temptation. Okay, there's going to be no more dishonor or shame. And we're going to have new bodies, spiritual bodies, that are not bound by time and space as we know it today. And Jesus tells us that we're getting new names. How about that? He also says that we're going to live in mansions. And I'm pretty sure that our definition of a mansion doesn't even come close to His definition of a mansion, not by a long shot. I can't wait to see what that looks like. So what are we going to do there? We're going to spend all of our time talking to Abraham and Moses and flying around with our new wings? Well, not hardly. In fact, the Apostle Paul tells us just the opposite. In 1 Corinthians, he tells us that we are going to rule over the angels. We're not going to transform into them. We're going to rule over them. And Jesus tells us in Revelation, we're going to rule with Him over the nations. So there's going to be plenty to do there, in addition to the main reason why we're there, and that is to worship God and give Him all the glory. And that would be fine with me if that's all we ever did. But let me close this out by giving you just a little snippet of what heaven's going to look like according to Revelations chapter 21. Check this out. Heaven is going to be perfectly square, 1,400 miles in each direction, or 2 million square miles. It's going to be surrounded by walls that are 216 feet thick, made out of diamonds. Diamonds. It's going to have 12 gates, 3 on each side, the north, the south, the east, and the west. It's going to have 12 foundations, and each foundation made of a different type of jewel. I want to go back for just a second to the gates. Each gate is 1,400 miles high, made of a single pearl. Think about that for a minute. A single pearl, 1,400 miles high. To put that in perspective, the largest and most expensive pearl we know of on this planet is 26 inches long and worth over $100 million. So a single pearl 1,400 miles high, I don't think anyone could even begin to calculate what that's worth. And the streets of the city are going to be made out of pure gold. Not like the gold we have here on earth that's corruptible. This is transparent gold, perfectly pure. And you may think, why do we need all of this in heaven? Why do we need a gate? Why do we need walls surrounding it? Are we trying to keep people out? What's going on? I want you to consider that we don't need this, but it is for our own pleasure that God creates this in heaven. It's for our pleasure that God gives us this. Think about it. Down here on this sinful earth, God uses our suffering to draw us closer to Him. But in heaven, it's going to be just the opposite. There's going to be no more pain, no more tears, no more suffering, and God is going to use pure beauty and joy to enhance our relationship with Him. I'm so looking forward to this, and I want to take as many people with me as I can. I hope you do too. Well, thank you for joining me here today. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out. Until next week, keep your eyes on Jesus and not on your troubles. Thank you.